Hello, I'm Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0 at the Masters, where Gary Van Sickle is going to tell us his 5 things for Wednesday. Take it away, Gary.
Well, longtime Masters veterans know that Wednesday is Masters Chairman Day. So, Tournament Chairman Fred Ridley came out and regaled us with some things they have in the works. So, I like to call this day Right, said Fred, which is a pop song from the 90s, back when, you were at retirement age. Oh, that was a cheap shot.
It was a cheap
But,
shot.
yeah, well, the truth hurts. Okay, right, said Fred. I just thought that was an interesting comment. The golf course is in perfect condition because they had kind of a cold January, so everything's sprouting now. And Fred Ridley said that a recent guest came out to the course and said the course is, quote, as looks like, quote, a beautiful painting, unquote.
Oh, well,
And
that's nice.
honestly, we've all seen the painting, The Golf Art of Augusta, and I don't disagree.
Yes, except it's live and the trees move.
Yeah, well, I will say
So,
I haven't walked the entire course yet because I was busy churning out a lot of stories yesterday. But today I was up under the tree by the clubhouse. The tree
yeah,
line between 1 and 9 is a lot thinner than it used to be. Some
yeah.
trees obviously came out, and I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's nearly as bad a hazard if you yank a tee shot on 9 left as it used to be. But you know,
Apparently,
we'll
it's
see.
changed between 2 and 9. Also, the left side of two.
You mean 2 and 8, 2 and 8?
2 and 8, is that what it is? No, no,
Yeah.
no. Okay. No, I think it was a 9.
Well,
Something in 9.
1 and 9 are next to each other.
And it's one and
Two
it's one
two
and
with two borders on 8. But anyways,
trees
and
have been moved by the storm.
well, in branches, even over by the Butler Cabin area, seems like there's fewer trees, and the trees there are.
Yeah.
I think they've been so carefully pruned that there's a lot fewer branches, but you can't see any stumps where the branches were. They're just, like the tree only has branches on one side, so the other side probably broke off. But whatever.
Yeah.
That should have counted as a thing. But let's go to number 2. Uh, Fred announced that their phase 1 project is finished, which was player underground parking. So the players
Yeah,
now
I
have
saw somebody
underground
talking
parking
about
in a
parking.
gigantic tunnel system they've built under the course, which I would
Are
love to
are
go
they
underneath that.
underground? Are they underground with a sub-air system? So it's cars and then it's sub-air?
Well, I
Are they
mean,
under the golf course?
between the clubhouse and the range, they have this incredible underground tunnel system. Their delivery
Okay.
trucks actually come in, at 4 or 5 blocks away, uh, way across Washington Road, and they go underground because they don't. Masters doesn't want anybody seeing these delivery trucks, and now I guess they've added underground parking there too, and they hope to have phase 2 done by next year, which is going to be a whole separate clubhouse with fitness area, locker room for players and their families, blah, 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 which of course means that's the end of the current locker room, and that'll be the end of any of us media scum being in the player locker room to talk to any players. So great for the players. And I'm going to guess they haven't said anything about phase 3, but I believe that's going to be building living quarters for the players on site on some land that they either already own. You're gonna come check into a hotel, stay there all week, but they haven't said that. That's just me speculating from what I know.
They could go up with a hotel type structure.
Oh, they're not going to ruin the skyline. No, I think it's going to be land they own maybe on the other side of the par 3 course, maybe a little toward town, where a lot of CBS parking is, and but we'll see. He didn't announce that. All right, that's 2. Number 3. It's the 50th anniversary of Lee Elder being the first black man to compete in the Masters. It's hard to believe it's 50 years ago already.
Well, I'm glad it's 50 years ago. It was sad that it took him that long to to have people of color playing in the Masters, but it was done, and now hopefully nobody needs to think about that anymore. I
Yep.
mean, they
Well,
do. It's still not right, but that's
1975. You turned 50 that year, right?
no.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, you're awful.
Thank you. And Fred said, he continues to be an inspiration for all of us, which that's totally true. Number 4, speaking of anniversaries, I won't say how old you were when this happened, but this marks 70 straight years for CBS broadcasting the Masters in some form. And
Yes,
they've got some deal with Paramount Plus. There's going to be some extra coverage on Saturday and Sunday. Doesn't help me. I don't have Paramount Plus. But
and
I
I will give you some information on that. The length of their contracts. As far as I know, and I was told this by a relative of someone from CBS many years ago, and that person is no longer there. The relative is no longer
probably
there.
because they spilled their guts to you. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. No, that's not why. But all of the contract with CBS is done on an annual basis. There's no 3-year, 5-year, 10-year. And so if they don't perform this year, they're out. So that makes you do a good job every year, because if you don't do a good job, there are other networks ready to jump in.
Yeah, but look at the other networks that cover golf.
No, you wouldn't want to
There's nobody who's going to come near CBS's quality. I'm sorry, nothing personal, but they're the only game in town for a Masters.
I agree with that, but I'm biased, and that's where I learned television and television production were from the people at CBS. So I have a bias in that regard.
That's where you learn to have a nice uncluttered background.
There are pictures on my wall.
Some say your pictures are my cluttered. Okay.
Would you like to know what they are? No.
Yeah. Would you like me to go over and describe my bucket of balls I hit ball by ball?
No.
So on the first shot, I hit a sandwich.
Oh, no.
All right, number 5. It's not a big finale, but Chairman Ridley, did say that they are reaffirming their support of the USGA and the RNA and the ball rollback, and he hopes everybody will,
Boo. Boo.
have a cookie full and a smile, and
I don't like that.
they'd like to teach the world to sing. He'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony.
Well, good luck with that. The tour doesn't like it. The players don't like it. The PGA of America doesn't like it. We may end up with 2 sets of rules there.
Well, we may. He also talked about pace of play, but he said all they're doing is encouraging the pace of play. However, somebody asked about, there was a young girl, I think, who maybe in the 5 to 7 category in the drive, chip, and putt, or the punt, pass, and kick, or whatever it's called. And she had like she had a 5-foot putt or whatever. I mean,
aim point.
And the putting, yeah. Well, the putting thing is, they're all putting from the same spot. They know how far it is. First, she paced it off. Then she did aim point. Then she walked all around it. And this 5 or 6-year-old girl, it took her like 2.5 minutes to hit a putt.
I saw one small child doing aim point.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is a problem.
Yeah. Fred said a lot of stuff about, encouraging the pace of play in the pro game, blah, blah, blah. And then he finally got back to the question, which was from the great John Hopkins of England. And he said, I did see what you saw, John, and we're going to consider having a time limit on those events for the drive, chip, and putt next year. So
no one's
when Chairman Ridley says we're going to consider that, what that means is they're going to have a time limit next year.
Well, I mean, nobody's going to stop a 6-year-old child from reading their putt at Augusta. I mean, they're just not going to do that.
Well, you got a shot clock. Really, you do it with a shot clock, and the kids all know it's like you got to get it off before the buzzer.
And get the TGL clock out there.
Yeah, if they're going to do it, they have to do it that way, because you can't let subjectivity into it. It's got to be black or white, not gray.
Right. But I was shocked when I saw them.
If they're going to have a shot clock for the kids putting, I might cover that next year, because I want to see that.
I don't want to see that. I don't
Oh
want to see
yeah.
the poor child in tears and the parents wailing because their child was disqualified or so. I mean, so they go over by 4 seconds. So what are they going to do to him? Kick him out of the event? They're
Well,
not
so
going to do
probably a
that.
one-shot penalty, and that's going to hurt their
If
chances. I
the
don't
one
know.
shot penalty, they got to
The
putt.
point is, who's teaching a 6-year-old to do all
Right.
that, and you're teaching them to play slow. Stop it.
Yes.
If
Yes.
this, the other option, if they don't have a shot clock, I would suggest this: somebody sneaks up behind the kid, slips a match into the heel of their shoe, and gives them a hot foot. Which, you're laughing, but honestly, that would be good TV.
I don't think that would be very inspirational, but people might move faster. Yes.
Right. So when you put a headline on this for the internet, be sure and put "hot foot for juniors." You want to
How
get
about
clicks. This
shot
is what the
clock
kind of thing
or
we have to
hot?
stoop to.
Yes, that's right.
Since
Absolutely.
we don't have Paige Spirnak as a guest yet.
No, but
But
we
we're
have the
working on that because she's appearing in Happy Gilmore too. So
yeah.
I'm hopeful we might land her, so to speak.
I don't want to land her. You can land
No,
her.
I want to land her on our show so we can talk
Yes.
to her. Because
Yes.
I think she's pretty smart, knows a lot of stuff, and she's a great businesswoman, obviously,
I think
because
she's a lot smarter than people have given her
she's
credit
got
for.
11 million viewers, so she knows what she's
Yes, she
doing.
does. Yes, she
And she's
does.
in a movie.
Yes.
Name 2 things I don't have.
Right. Me either.
Yeah.
Well, I hear you're off to the American Golf Writers or the Golf Writers Association of America dinner this evening. So
Or
enjoy.
GWA, as some know it.
GWA, yes. I'm a GWA member. I've been a GWA member since 1984.
Yes, the Golf Writers dinner is fixing to commence as Tiny, the old
Oh,
bouncer at
yeah.
the media center, big, large man. Of course, he's nicknamed Tiny, and he's
Yeah.
tougher than dirt. And he announced the meeting in the press center, and he said, "The Golf Writers meeting is fixing to commence."
Well, isn't that a Texas saying?
Well, commence is a good word, but if you're saying commence, it's fixing to commence. Well, it is actually correct.
No, it's
I
correct.
just love the way he said it.
Of course.
I like Tiny, but he was your friend unless you were breaking one of the rules, like you're not taking that drink out of the building. No, not my
Well,
friend anymore.
you always knew you were at an important event if Tiny was there.
Yeah, they brought him around a few times,
Yeah.
and luckily, Tiny lived in an era when they didn't have tasers invented yet.
Why is that luckily?
Oh, because I
He
feel
would
like
go
he's
after
the guy who
people.
would have had an itchy trigger finger for that.
Oh.
Oh, you weren't taking a drink? Oh, well, that's just my bad. Well, the paramedics are fixing to commence reviving you, so have a good day. That's it from Wednesday at the Masters. Back to you, Barbara.
Thank you, Gary. We'll see you tomorrow, maybe.
Maybe.